Our next presenter is Mr. Brand. He's from the Funeral Honors. He's going to talk about that. We just have him left. We'll do some closing comments, go over some stuff, and then we'll be done for the day.
Okay, good afternoon. Everybody should be wide awake now that you've had a few minutes to stand up and whatever. I promise not to be real long, but we do want to answer your questions. Dean Brand, I'm the coordinator for the Iowa Military Funeral Honors Program on the Army side. I've been doing this since probably 2001. Either as a soldier, as additional duty in the G1, and then for the last close to 12 years as a contractor. Our program, and we're usually the last people that anybody wants to talk to about or whatever, get it, and so forth. But it is important, not just for you and your families, but for, you may have relatives that are veterans and so forth that are going to, pass away long before you are. And they may have questions, or you may be able to have some answers to some questions that they have, and you might even have the answer to them, or at least you know where to go to get the answer. Okay, anyway. Okay, and I'm going to talk strictly about, you as the retiree today as far as benefits, although we may kind of drift off into into the veteran portion of it, but these are things for us as the retiree from the military, or actually an active soldier. You're eligible to have the flag folded and presented, taps, a firing party or a firing detail, and no, it's not a firing squad, but I'm sure everybody already knew that. The casket team or pallbearers will do that part at the cemetery if your family would like. If you don't like, works for us. And if you need a chaplain, we can help to arrange that. Like, we'll give you the phone number for the chaplain, and they work that part, but that is something that's there for you if your family needs that. Excellent. Okay, documents that you need. BD 214 or NGB 22, whichever it is. If you're retiring as AGR, you're going to have a 214. If you're going to retire on the traditional side, you'll have an NGB 22. Discharge order to the retired reserve. Your NGB 23 that showed at least the 20 years of qualifying service, even if you've lost everything after that. Now, the nice thing about our records now, that most everything's electronic, so it's pretty hard to lose everything totally anymore. Or a discharge certificate that's showing you to the retired reserve. For our friends from the reserves that, if you've got friends that are in that side of it, and I was a reservist for 14 years, okay, so I can say this, the reserves are awful at getting the discharge document to their soldiers. They may get a certificate, but if you find a 214 coming from a discharge, we're lucky, and so forth. Anyway, okay, good. Okay, besides the basic funeral, or the funeral honors, you could be eligible for a bronze marker through the Veterans Administration that would go on a civilian stone. You're eligible for burial out at the Iowa Veterans Cemetery at Van Meter. You don't have to be living in Iowa at that point in time to be buried there. You can be buried at the majority of the national cemeteries. I think most of them you're all right for, except there's some of them that have got, because of space, they've got some additional requirements. And the Presidential Memorial Certificate, which is pretty much eligible to any veteran, but and those you can get as many as you wish. Okay. If you're looking for information, those slides will work. Next. Okay, to arrange for honors. Easiest way, work with the funeral home. Funeral home picks the phone up, calls us. Once the arrangements are made, say, hey, we need, such and such has passed away, we're going to have honors, yada, 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 and so forth. We'll handle it. That's our office number. Whoever picks up that phone in our office, which is here just down the hallway, if you don't know our location, all of us that work in there are part of the funeral honors team. So we'll talk, anybody can answer the questions. If you have questions after today, or you have know somebody that's got a question about, well, what about this or what about that, have them call our office. It's fine. We answer every so often. We get somebody that calls. They have a question about, well, if we do this or we can do that. It is never too late. Now, I'm kind of branching off into this thing just because the thought crossed my mind, because every so often we come across this. We have a family, their parent, grandparent, uncle, whatever, passed away a long time ago. They never had military honors. Can they still have military honors? By all means. Sergeant Von Oschen is sitting back there. She's been part of our team, shaking her head yes. Call our office. We need a copy of their discharge, their 214 or certificate or whatever they had. We will come to wherever it is they want to do honors at. So it's never too late to have military honors, even if the burial has happened years ago. Every so often we get one that, one spouse has passed away, been cremated, they're waiting till the other spouse passes away before they actually have an interment. So it's not unusual for us to do honors, several years down the road because that other spouse hasn't passed, and so forth. So there's no real most silly question about it as far as when it comes to this. Be sure, like I say, it's a lot easier now that we have electronic records, because so all the service members, whenever it is that you get your discharge documents, be sure your family knows where you put them. Don't keep them in a super secret location that only you know the answer to, because if you're dead, it doesn't help them. And all that does is stress the family. Probably the biggest stressor of families, besides the actual passing, is that they can't find the darn discharge document. And the funeral director calls and said, hey, the family can't find it. They've looked here and here and here. Do you have any other thoughts? And so, we kind of go through the whole litany with them as to where they can possibly look that they haven't already, and so forth. But that's one thing I tell the retirees every time when I brief them when we have alumni day. If you don't, as the non-service member, do you know where that discharge document is for your loved one? Do not break their ribs right now if you don't know, because one, they don't have it. But be sure you do know it when they do get it. Now, the other saving grace is the Record Center has them, and we can pull them up electronically. But for us that are in the past, now I wound up, I'm electronic yet, but I know where mine are. So is my wife, because she's a retiree too. But, so anyway, okay. Anyone have a question about military honors? Say it's not hard. Stressful at the moment, yes, but not hard. I guess when you've done it as long as I have, there's nothing we do that's hard. Yes, sir.
I have a grandfather and great uncle that World War II vets. They didn't get a military funeral. Not what is necessary at this point, but it would be nice to have the medallion on the headstones. Is that something that can be facilitated?
Yeah, if you go out to va.gov and kind of hunt down through it in the burials and memorials, it'll take you, there's a piece in there that talks about the medallions and so forth. You'll have to have a copy of the discharge, I'm sure of that. That's a little out of my realm, other than I know it's something there. But yeah, you can work with that, and like your county veteran service officer, wherever they were, and so forth, or you might be able to just take it to your, whoever's local for you. Are you here on Camp Dodge or out and away? Okay.
ago, if your father or grandfather didn't do anything with their DD 214s, is I can imagine maybe they didn't take them to the courthouse and file them. If they don't have them at the courthouse, it's gonna be hard to find them. What do you do then?
In va.gov, go through that.
Okay.
There, you can request those electronically or hard copy. They'll walk you through the whole procedure. You need an SF-180, and you don't need to be a personnel guy to fill that part of it out. It's all self-explanatory, but yeah, you could, and then basically let's go through St. Louis to get a copy of their discharge paperwork or the file. If you just want the discharge piece, then it doesn't cost you, but if you want their file, I know they charge you for that, and it takes a while.